Now goes 47 games, both Martinelli and Rice. So with Patrick Davison.
Well, guys, well played. Declan, you fought, and in the end, how big a goal has this guy got you?
Massive. Ever since I've come to the club, even before I come to the club, he delivered big moments, and the amount of times he scores in big games for us. A lot of players can sulk if they get put on the bench, but every time he comes in, he shows his heart, desire, and the run and finish. Just at that stage of the game, to have that composure, he fully deserves it. You wouldn't meet a nicer guy. So, we didn't win. I thought we thoroughly deserved. I thought we dominated today. We played really, really well. Just couldn't break him down. Fair play to him, but in fairness to him, he's come on and produced a moment of magic. So we're happy with that.
So just tell us then about that mentality. Not thinking of yourself as a sub, thinking of yourself as a finisher, and knowing you can still affect the match.
Yeah, I mean, it's for those moments that I work for. I mean, we played really well. I think we were unlucky in certain moments because we had some chances as well. And yeah, it was a great ball from Ebbs, and I just tried to put it in the back of the net. And yeah, really happy with the goal. But we need to work more, and yeah, we want to win those games as well.
So, like you say, it was a great pass from Eza, but do you have to almost show him where the pass is by making the right run?
Yeah, I mean, with the players that we have, Dirk, Martin, Ebbs, Marino, I know if I make those runs, at least if I make 3 in the game, at least one I'll get the ball and I'll have the chance. So this is what I try to do. And yeah, again, great pass from Ebbs.
What was your reading of the game? Did you sense that you forced them back, or was it maybe a different City this season stepping back and trying to hit you on the counter-attack?
Yeah, I think we've obviously gained the respect of the opposition. They know the quality that we have, from back to front. I think in my time here at Arsenal, we probably haven't dominated a game like that against Man City as we did today. I thought obviously in the first half we passed and moved really well. In the same second half it was constant pressure, but there was always that threat from them of the counter-attack. But in the end, I think we thoroughly deserved the goal. If we had come away losing that game, we would have been really disappointed. So in the end, I think a point's probably fair, but we obviously want to win that one. Yeah, what was the message at half time, 1-0 down? Did you feel like, even though you're behind on the scoreline, actually the performance was okay? Yeah, I could sense a bit of frustration inside the stadium, obviously because we were having so much of the ball. But again, they defended really well. We maybe had 1 or 2 chances in the first half, and we knew second half we had to step on it. And within the first 5 minutes, we created 2 or 3. So the message at half time, was to keep going, keep pushing, keep overloading them. And obviously in the end, they changed to a back 5, went to a 5-4-1, which I've never seen them do. And they're obviously trying to hang on. So obviously to get the draw at the end was good for us.
Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah, slight slip of the tongue there from Declan Rice, and it probably does feel like a win when you get an equaliser that late on in the game. He said that was as dominant as he thinks that Arsenal have been against Manchester City in the league since he's been at the club. 12 shots compared to 5. Both of them had 3 shots on target. Not much in it in terms of XG, but that possession of 34% is the lowest that Manchester City have had in the Premier League under Pep Guardiola. So you can look at that and think that Declan Rice has a right to feel that Arsenal were dominant, or you can look at the XG and say they may have had a lot of the ball, but they didn't do a lot creatively with it. Which side of the fence would you sit on?
Well, a bit of both. I think in terms of Man City, they defended well throughout the game. There was that one moment where, for some reason, they decided to step up. And even when Eze had the ball at his feet, they didn't drop. When he's got that much time, just drop off. I know sometimes when you're going into a back 5 and you've got 3 centre-half, sometimes communication can be a little bit off in who's dropping and who's going. But it was just too easy in that moment of the game. It was a brilliant goal from Arsenal's point of view. In terms of Martinelli, the running behind, exactly what they needed. But that's the poorest I've seen Man City on the ball for a long time. Even though the possession was really low, even when they had the ball, they kept giving it away, they kept punting it long. It was very different. Of course, when you change the system and you go into a low block and Arsenal playing very well, they are going to pin you back. But in terms of when Man City got the ball back, it just wasn't good enough.
I can understand where Declan's coming from. When you dominate a title rival as much as they did, you're pleased about that in some ways, because that's not normal to see a game almost so one-sided in terms of territory, maybe possession. But for me, I can't get away from the fact that Arsenal still don't look like they're going to score a goal in open play. And I felt that at Manchester United in the first game. I felt that at Anfield, and I felt that today. Credit to them, they've got the goal. They had lots of set pieces, didn't look as dangerous on set pieces today. But that still has to be a big worry for Arsenal. I think this season in the 5 games, in open play, their XG is about 3. They didn't really look like scoring at all, and that's still a problem that they had last season, that it still looks like in these first 5 games they've still got.
I suppose it depends on how you define dominant in terms of the performance. What was your read on the game?
Yeah, well, we've said it many times before, but possession doesn't win you football matches. And we were watching the game, we thought, listen, now they're going to create something. And we talk about the strength and depth, a couple of subs coming off the bench and obviously having a big involvement with the goal. Do you know what? It's kind of the same issues for Arsenal. On one hand, you give them credit, they kept going and they persevered and they got a draw. But the problem is when you're talking about Arsenal winning league titles, we see what Liverpool are doing and what Man City have done the last few years, and that's the bit where you're still short in terms of their creativity. A lot of good players, they're a really solid team, a very, very good team, but the standards that the other team have set over the last few years, they still look short on that area. But a little bit today, you give them a little bit of credit because you go, listen, you stuck at it, and that's what you're supposed to do. Yes, City still. You look City, they're still trying to find their way. They're not like the City from 2 or 3 years ago, and obviously they sat back in, and generally speaking, they defended quite well. It was just that bit of concentration at the end. And having said that, it was a great ball and a great run and a great finish, and you have to obviously take your medicine on that side of it. But City's lack of belief in terms of their possession and trying to get a second goal, it wasn't there. So Arsenal certainly deserve something out of the game.
I mean, we talk about Gyökeres a lot, and we said before the show, is he the guy to win them the title? And he's had a little bit of criticism for his performances in the big games away at Old Trafford, Anfield, near today. He hasn't had the kick today, and he might get criticism again on the back of the game. I don't think in those 3 games he's had a chance. They haven't created a chance for him. So I go back to when people keep saying Arsenal's problem is finishing. It's not. It's creating. They don't create enough, and he might get a little bit of stick, as I've just said, for what's happened in sort of those 3 bigger games. But they haven't created one chance for him.
They did get the goal from open play, as Jamie was saying. Roy talked about it being a really good ball. We'll come back to this foul.
Eze gets the ball now. For some reason, Man City decided not to drop off. The ball was excellent. It's a great first touch from Martinelli, and the finish as well. Donnarumma was very good in the game, but in terms of that, it was in no man's land. But the timing of the run, the weight of the pass was excellent, and the finish was
My argument, I think the reason was City were high up at that stage because City had decent possession. I know we can argue all day about the foul, but they were kind of in possession. I think that's why they were higher up the pitch. They just took a brilliant ball and a brilliant run to hurt them. And if you look at it, just as the pass is played, I always look at defenders, they're almost just having a breather at the wrong time. They're just having a bit of a... And that's where they just got to drop off a little bit. And it's just split-second stuff. That's all it is.
I just want to look at that. Can if you roll the clip again, the first angle there. So
City defenders are going to be high up. They're not going to be deep when they have... So
yeah, but now okay. So now you're pulling it up. Now, then Eze... As soon as Eze gets the ball, if we just slow this down a little bit here, you're thinking, now he's looking up, he's looking up, you're looking at the runners, you're looking around you, now you drop off. They've just mistimed it. If they was 5 yards further back, I agree with you.
I don't know about an extra 5 yards, but I think a split second, just drop a yard or two.
Just drop a yard or two. As soon as he's on the ball there, James.
You go back to where the ball is initially, the 5, and you talk about where your line should be. You don't just naturally drop off if you've no attackers against you. I mean, City have got a back 5 in there. There's probably only 2 players up against them, and they're a little bit 2 or 3 yards off them. So if you just watch it now, and we always talk about time on the ball, you've got to drop off. Okay.
And who's in possession, Jamie? That's the key.
Yeah, exactly. But if you actually look at, you're right, Roy, Manchester City are not going to be on the edge of their own box now. Okay? So you look at the situation, who's at the top end of the pitch. You've got Martinelli there on the last line. I think it's Zubamendi just off the 2 middle centre-backs. Now, he makes a run from 2 or 3 yards deeper there, Martinelli, and Aki doesn't go with him, and Gabriel doesn't see him. It's not about the 2 high up the pitch. Look, if you can just take that back, sorry who's ever doing the just take it back now. Stop there now. So Aki's got a yard on the attacker there, Martinelli. Gabriel's got a yard or 2 as well. You don't go back and give them sort of 5 or 10 yards they can get into the feet.
No, but you do. As soon as he's got his head up, Jamie, as soon as Eze gets his head up, that's when you run back.
What I'm saying
okay, and I agree with you. If you just stop it there, we were talking at Man City in the game. They went to a 5.
But it's too late now. Look at the reaction.
It's too late, but they went to a 5-4-1. And we was talking off air that Man City defended really well. And the crosses come in, the corners come in, Man City dealt with absolutely everything. At this moment in the game, 90+3, I totally agree with you. When he's got his head up, he's supposed to drop off. But why even give him the chance to do that when you've defended so well throughout the game, is my point, you know?
No. Listen, I get that, Mike, and I just think Ake and Gabriel have just not dropped off earlier.
Yeah,
You're right,
agreed.
of course, yeah. But this
Exactly.
idea that they should have been 10 or 15 yards deeper, I mean, someone can just get the ball into the feet between the lines. But listen, the goalkeeper was fantastic.
Yeah,
They dealing with set pieces. He finds himself in no man's land. He really does, because let's not forget, it's a brilliant finish. But for me, whether that's a foul or not, the referee, we've seen up here, he put his whistle to his mouth twice in that situation.
And that's the point that I think Pep Guardiola was enraged about early on. I mean, it leads to the Arsenal goal, and there's still an awful lot to do here. And as you said, it's a very good finish. But should the game have been stopped here?
It looks more of a foul than not a foul to me, if I'm being totally honest. And I've seen the referee really think it. He went twice with his whistle to his mouth, and I don't think the Man City players appealed enough for it. I know it sounds a silly thing.
Well, VAR thought that Gonzalez stepped on Calafiori, that it was the other way round.
Yeah, no, I can see also why the referee. I can see why Pep's complaining about it, because ultimately it leads to a goal. But no, I'm not too bad with it. I think this is just two players coming together.
And it's also possible that the reason the referee had the whistle in his mouth and didn't blow it is if he thought the same as the VAR did, that it was a foul on Calafiori, on the Arsenal player.
I don't think it's a foul on Calafiori. I think, if anything, it's a foul on Nico Gonzalez. And in that moment there, when you've got a split second to get your body shape right and everything, and then you're on the back foot, maybe that was down to the positioning, but it could have went either way.
And in the end, it went the way that allowed Arsenal to get back into that game with the equaliser. But they had to do it, as we said, from 1-0 down. Erling Haaland, who I think the phrase you used earlier was taking him for granted in the Premier League. How...
Area. Now, certainly of late, Pep Guardiola's wanted his wide players to be a lot narrower. You see Doku, you see Foden in there. But also, the way the modern game is played, defensive players, if the attacking players are deep, you go in there with them. You're on the front foot, you're pressing high. And we know that battle between Haaland and Gabriel has gone on for the last few years now, but Gabriel's not going to win a race against him. Absolutely devastating pace on that counter-attack. And I mentioned at half-time, it felt like the type of goal we used to always see Erling Haaland score for Borussia Dortmund. The Bundesliga notoriously is a counter-attacking league. We don't see him as much for Manchester City, but that is just like absolutely unstoppable.
They scored a goal against Wolves earlier in the season, so I think it's definitely something part of the game. I think Pep's been quoted on saying that's an area they want to improve as well. Counter-attack, because they're going to be defending a little bit deeper. But that was this. I love watching this. This is unstoppable. You don't know about players, and we talk how brilliant Haaland is in around the box, but that's just power, determination, and the calmness at the end. Fantastic. I thought his first half performance was brilliant.
It was amazing.
With
And
Ryan is in this position, Roy. You see, he's not really looking at Haaland. Is that almost like a deliberate
Yeah,
ploy?
I think so. He's waiting, and he's biding his time, of course. And again, it looks so simple, but very difficult just to get that time and pass so he doesn't get him offside. And obviously, he's waiting for the defender to suck him in enough. And the timing and the weight of the pass, fantastic. Particularly doing it at that speed.
I don't know if you can see that first angle again. Sorry, but just from you played in the centre half position.
He's going to be knackered, the fella.
we want the details of them. He normally gets nice and tight there. What is the reason for you he doesn't go tight to Haaland there and just wipe him out and take the foul?
Probably because there's just so many bodies there. Okay. There's just that many people in there. You sort of get in there, you're thinking, oh, I don't...
Does he have to be that high up there?
But that's they are, aren't they? So if you're going to go that high, you might as well go all in. That is the point.
We're criticising the City defence for the goal for not dropping off. Why is Arsenal centre-half getting drawn into that? Almost sometimes you said, defenders, mind your own business. Let the midfielders do with that. Look, why is he leaving so much space? Mind your own business. Drop back a bit. No, it's too late. Once he gets drawn in there, he's just been a busy bee for no reason. And then he's running back. When you're looking at your striker's number at Haaland, you're like, oh my God, not him. Because you know he's going to punish you. But why is he going in there?
Look at him, the speeds.
Yeah, because he ends up doing nothing. If he goes in and fouls him, you go, hey, fair enough. But he doesn't need to be in there.
I think his mistake is when the actual ball goes into Haaland's feet, he then jumps another 2 yards. He doesn't need to. There's that many bodies there anyway. It's going to be difficult for Haaland.
It does feel like there's an old wound there. Midfielders telling defenders not to get quite so busy. But it's a point well made. We'll get lots of points well made when we hear from both managers. We'll try and work out who this point is best for. Is it Arsenal? Is it Manchester City? And what it can do for them for the rest of the season. We'll hear from both Mikel Arteta and Pep Guardiola next.